I'm going to take a second to talk to you about underdogs.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for
you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. And look at that, my YouTube chat is now working. My YouTube chat has been bugging. I don't know what's going on with with OBS as of late, but it has been bugging out. But it seems like we are a go. So let me know if you guys are hearing me good, if you guys are seeing me good. Today we do have Aaron Summers from the New Orleans Saints. Just chopped it up with her a little bit earlier on. Very excited for you guys to see that. But look, I want to talk a little bit about this game, man. Obviously, we're going into this game, and we have an opportunity now to hit 500 before the bye week. And if I would have told you that a couple weeks ago, you probably would have thought I was crazy. So shout out to Carlos. Shout out to Ryan Rowe. Shout out to Jeff Bone, the Bonehead. I like that. That's a funny name. Shout out to Midwest Eagles fans. Shout out to Jeremiah, Brandon Jordan in the building. Darren Lewis already on his stuff. You know what I'm saying? I already see you in here. But look, I really think that the Eagles can figure this out. I've said it before. I feel like they're on the right path. The offense, at the very least, the defense, I think they're serviceable enough to win us games, especially against quarterbacks we should not be losing against. And if you look at the games that we have coming up, if you look at the teams that we're going against, none of their quarterbacks really scare me. Maybe that's a homer statement. Maybe that's me being a little bit crazy, but I'm really not too afraid of any of these quarterbacks. I mean, we look at this weekend. We're going against Trevor Simeon. I'm not shaking in my boots by Trevor Simeon. If you look at next week, I can't remember who exact, but I know we got the Giants and we got Washington coming up. We got a bunch of Jets. We got a bunch of teams that honestly we should be blowing out defensively. So then it just comes down to the offense doing their job, and I feel like they've been very consistent in who they are and what they're trying to do with this offense. So I'm excited about this season moving forward. I think that we have a lot to look forward to, as not just fans, but guys that report on this team. I've had to talk way too much negativity, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the negativity. It's time for us to start winning some games. Brandon says would be wild to see the Eagles in a wishbone formation. Darren Lewis says Nick Sirianni is so happy with the running game now this Thanksgiving. He plans to eat the wishbone out of the turkey. I mean, hey, this is what we've all wished for. I don't know your guys, traditions with the wishbone for the turkey and all that stuff, but I know this is what we all wanted. We all wanted to see the Eagles become a running team. We all felt like they were, built to be that type of team, and now we're seeing it. So now I know I'm happy. I know I'm excited about this. This is going to be something that we're going to keep on looking at maybe next year. Even so, looking at Miles Sanders, is he going to be back? This is a team that I realistically feel like their future can be built around the run. We look at players like Lamar Jackson. We look at players like, what's his name? Wow, Josh Allen, and these quarterbacks that are athletic, and you build it around the run. So we'll see what happens. So we're going to get into this interview a little bit earlier than I usually do, but we are going to get into this interview now, just previewing this game versus the Saints. Again, shout out to my girl, Erin Summers. This was a lot of fun. She works for the Saints, so she definitely has some great insight. So let's just get right into this. As you can see, we have a very special guest today. We got Erin Summers. How's it going? Thank you so much for joining the show.
It is going great. Would be better if the Saints had won the last few. So here we are. We're getting ready for the Eagles. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. I've felt that sentiment a lot through this season. Trust me, we are like 4-6, so I've been there. It gets better, though. Hopefully not this week for you guys, but it does get better. So I do want to hop right into it, man. We're going into week 11, right? It's been an up and down season, I can say, for both teams probably. But how are you feeling so far about this Saints team going into week 11?
Yeah, it's absolutely been an up and down season for the Saints. Starting off with the way the season started, we had a hurricane that displaced the team for a little while. And at that point, it almost seemed like a good thing because they came out first game of the season and they beat the Green Bay Packers. Everybody was excited, unexpected to see the Saints play that well, kind of not knowing what we were going to have this season. We had a lot of players out to start the year. Obviously, Michael Thomas, one of them, and someone who is not going to be joining the team at any point this season. And that's been tough for the wide receiver group. He's always going to be your go-to guy there, and he's not available. But then you move forward a couple games, and now we're dealing with more injuries. We have, the offensive line has been beat up several times. Quarterback, we're technically on our third string quarterback. You started with Jameis Winston, had Taysom Hill. He had a concussion, doesn't come in. Trevor Simeon comes in, leads us to a win over Tampa Bay. Everything looks good. All right, we're going to be okay. And then the past two games have been a little rough. So it's really hard to kind of figure out what the identity of this team is. And hopefully they'll be able to get things rolling in the right direction soon.
Definitely. And that's actually kind of relieving to hear as an Eagles fan, because we kind of are in the same seat, right? We have a quarterback. Obviously, he's not been hurt, knock on wood, but He's been having a up and down season, kind of a questionable thing. But the reason why I bring that up is because you guys go from a Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the best of all time, to, like you said, kind of a bunch of unknowns. Trevor Simeon, I believe, is coming from Denver, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that. But he played a couple good games in the NFL, and obviously, like you said, had a couple good games for you guys. How has that transition been? Not only losing, like I said, a Hall of Fame quarterback, but kind of the face of the franchise.
Yeah, well, last year they brought in Jameis Winston to learn from Drew Brees, and it looked like it was probably the best thing that the team could have done because Jameis came out and he played smart, he made good decisions, he didn't force things, and he was really doing a lot better in terms of the interceptions that everybody had kind of put on him earlier in his career with the Bucks. So it seemed like a good thing, although the offense wasn't as flashy, wasn't as fun as maybe a Saints fan would like it to be with Drew Brees at the helm, but it was working. And then with his injury, you go to Trevor Simeon, who has really just been a career backup quarterback. He was playing in Denver for a little while last year. He was actually with the Titans. He was their COVID quarterback. So he wasn't even a part of a team per se. He wasn't practicing. He was kind of just hanging out in case they needed him to slide in, but he wasn't available to really be with the team during practice because they kept everybody separate because they didn't want, the cross contamination, whatever, they don't want everybody to get taken out in the quarterback room. He actually said that during practices when he was with the Titans, he would go across the street and shoot hoops by himself on a little basketball court across the street. And that's what he was getting paid for last year in the NFL. So now he is with the Saints, and he's done a really good job managing this team. He has not thrown an interception in 3 games. He's done well. He's gotten sacked 5 times, 6 times. 4 of those were last game in the first half of last game. So while he's not throwing the interceptions, sometimes he's hanging on to the ball a little bit too long. That's hurting offensively, but he's not making any egregious errors here that would cost the team a win. So he's really done a good job managing things.
Definitely. And I think you said it perfectly. I think that word kind of emulates it perfectly with the managing, right? Yeah. You have a guy like Alvin Kamara who was out last week, which I kind of want to ask you about, but you do have a good running game, right? He was out, but Mark Ingram's able to step in, get the leading rusher for your franchise's history, I believe it is, right? So you guys have some running backs. How has that transition been? And can you talk to me a little bit about Alvin Kamara's injury? Is that something we should be looking at towards Sunday? Is that a name we should be watching?
Everybody's watching Alvin Kamara. I think a lot of people have him on their fantasy football team, so they need to know if he's playing or not, and if they're going to get him the carries and the yards, the touchdowns. I mean, he is a dual threat guy. He does so much for a football team. He's a game changer. He has leading number of rushing yards for the team with 530, and he has the leading number of receptions, even though he's a running back. And he leads the team in touchdowns. So it's really tough to replace that type of production. Ingram did a good job stepping into that role last week. He actually did get into the passing game a little bit as well, but he didn't get brought in to be your number 1 running back. He got brought in to complement Kamara and to kind of take some of the load off Kamara because he'd been really run into the ground over the first several games of the season, and now we're seeing that play out in this knee injury that he's been dealing with. Nothing that will keep him out for the entire season by any means, but something that did keep him out for this one game. He didn't practice at all last week, and they have not been at practice yet this week. They'll start practice on Wednesday. Tuesday's a day off for them. Monday is the day that they watch film. So haven't seen any injury reports, haven't been able to be out of the practice field and see if he is in fact practicing or not. Definitely something that we'll be keeping an eye on because he's a difference maker in the game for sure.
Definitely. That'll be a huge break. Obviously, you never pray for injury on anybody, but that'll be a huge break for the Philadelphia Eagles, not having to go up against somebody like that. Now, like you said, you are able to be around the team a lot, around the coaches and everything. You guys are still in the hunt. It's a very tight race out there. So what do you think the messaging is going to be from, you know, your head coach and the coaching staff in general to the team going against the Eagles?
Yeah, well, the way that the Eagles game went last season is definitely something that's in the back of everybody's mind. The Saints were on an 8-game win streak at that point. They come in, they play the Eagles, and they lose. I don't think that that was expected, considering the way the Eagles season ended up 4-8 last year, if I'm not mistaken. And it was Jalen Hurts' first start as a quarterback, and he did a number on the Saints, especially on the ground. The entire team did, and that's an area that Coach Payton really hangs his hat. He likes the fact that they are able to stop the run, and they've been doing that really well this year. So I don't think that that will become as big of a problem as it did last year for this team. But these guys have not forgotten that game, and they're not going to want to go out up there and have their third straight loss. They've been in both of these last games that they've lost, losing by 2 points to Atlanta and to Tennessee. And it's just been a little bit too late. Slow starts, penalties, mistakes have kind of gotten them behind in these ball games. And so just cleaning up the little things has been something that's been said many, many times over the past week. And so if they can do that, then I think they put themselves in a better position going up to Philly. But yeah, I mean, they have not forgotten what happened December 13th, 2020.
She has the whole date. I love it. I love it. So now going into next week, I said we're looking at if Alvin Kamara is going to be able to suit up. We're looking at the Ingram on defense that are big names, house names. Are there any under the radar guys that we should be looking at on the Saints team as an Eagles fan?
Yeah, I mean, the Saints, they, as I mentioned, are a really good run defense team. And so far, the area that's been an issue has been kind of the big play opportunities where a team will come in and gain a lot of yards through the air, through one play. And that's really hurt the Saints. It's something that they have really been focusing in on and did much better with that in this past game. There are a few guys on this team, and PJ Williams, one of them, he has 3 interceptions on the season. And right there, you know, somebody that you don't think about all the time, you know, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he was out this past game. He's usually somebody that people think about as the safety that's out there. Have a lot of good linebackers that are good rushers. Marcus Davenport had 2 sacks in the last game. And so they've really started picking up the pressure there. And then Tano Passigna, he's somebody who also leads the team. He leads the team with 4 sacks. So Passigna, PJ Williams, guys that maybe aren't on your radar, but some people that you should be watching on the field.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's good to know because we've had, you know, some good offensive line performances, but they are young. They are susceptible to some, you know, some good play. So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, let me ask.
Well, as I mentioned, the team has started slow through the past couple games. So it's been really hard for them to get their offense going. And the players talked about it Monday at practice. They said that what they expected to see from the team wasn't what they saw in the first half. So they watched a bunch of film, and the coverages, whether it was man or zone, were opposite of what they were expecting. So through the whole first half, they were dealing with something they didn't expect to see. They came in, they made adjustments at halftime, and then you can see how the offense starts to roll in the second half. But at that point, I mean, they had to score 22 points in the fourth quarter against Atlanta to even be able to be in that game at the end. They scored 15 of their 21 points in the second half against Tennessee. I mean, if you're having to score that much at the end of the game, you're not doing something right the entire game. So my suggestion would be to come in and show them something that they're not expecting on defense, whether it is your normal man or your normal zone, whatever your defense package usually is. Kind of mix it up a little bit and give them something they're not expecting, because it takes them a little while. It really takes them to that halftime break for them to really be able to make the adjustments.
Definitely. Now, you said something that kind of triggered something that I was thinking earlier in the or in the season, I should say. And I know a lot of Eagles fans as well. And you were talking about the identity of the Saints offense. Now we were talking about the Eagles' identity early in this year because they were trying to throw the ball 40 times. And as Eagles fans and as people that report on the team, we looking at it and we're like, you're just built to run. You're built to be this type of team. Do you Saints and say to yourself, you're built to do this, why not just do this? Is there anything that you look at and say they should really just hone in on this going forward?
It's really tough because Sean Payton is such an excellent offensive mind. He can use the pieces that he has to the best of their ability, and that incorporates a really fun passing game. However, because they don't have the receivers this year, I mean, we really thought that Michael Thomas again was going to be that person. And they've had issues with a lot of dropped passes. They've been really, kind of on the wrong end of a lot of their passing game this year, which is why they really went after Odell Beckham so strongly until, LA came into picture. And of course, everybody wants to go to LA, right? That's way more fun than a lot of these other cities that NFL teams are in. So, it's fun because you can see Peyton, he does a great job with what he has. But I think that you have to run the ball if you have somebody like Alvin Kamara that is so efficient and effective at it. And then, and because now we're the third quarterback, right? Like, you don't want to necessarily depend on a third string quarterback's arm. Even though Simeon has done a great job, you got to help him by establishing your run game. And that was something they weren't able to do last week against the Titans, probably because Kamara wasn't in the lineup. But I think that they need to definitely be at least more balanced in their passing and run attack.
Definitely. Now, looking forward to this game, I got two more questions I want to get in, and one of them is a very generic one, right? Are there any matchups that you're looking at this game that you're really keying in on to see, either whether it's young players going against some vets or just a matchup that you think can help the Saints win this week?
Yeah, I think that the offensive line, as far as the Saints goes, definitely needs to step up and protect our quarterback, regardless of who's on the other side. That's an area that needs to improve. Matchup wise, defensively for the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore has been a nightmare for people out there. He has 10 pass deflections on the season. So whoever he is covering in the passing game, and I know that the Eagles have really been run heavy of late, that's going to be an issue. And they're really starting to bite as far as the sacks go. They were slow to start in that area, but now they have 20 on the season and they've really been picking that up. So, as you mentioned, your offensive line, young, I think against a good rush defense, it's going to be tough. I think that definitely the matchup is going to be in the trenches.
Definitely. And that's kind of where we build our team. So that's where we always try to bring it back to. That's kind of our game. Hopefully we were able to take advantage of some of your guys' weaknesses. Now, the last question I have to ask, another kind of very generic, it's almost contractually obligated at this point. But what is your thoughts for this Sunday? What is your prediction? Do you think this is a game the Saints are going to be able to pull out?
I understand the question and you have to understand my answer. The Saints are obviously going to win. I know I've seen the line. It's at 1.5. Yeah, like 1.5 in the Eagles' favor. But the Eagles, they haven't won at home in almost a year, right? It's been 340 days maybe. So and my mom is popping into the back of my head right now because she's always like, well, probability and statistics, they're due. So they'll probably win, and she always loves to play the numbers when it comes to stuff like this. So maybe the Eagles are due for one at home, but I really think the Saints coming off 2 tough losses, it's going to be a hard week of practices. And Coach Payton said, I'm evaluating the players and we're to the point of whether you can get it done or you can't. And I think when your job is on the line, you're going to have to get your act together or else you're not going to have a job in the NFL anymore. So it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. I think it's important for both sides.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a very fun game. And shout out to your moms, because I like her analysis of this game already. I like her analysis. So I didn't know it was that exact number. That is actually new to me. I knew it was long. I knew none this year, but wow. A full year. Yeah, we have to win this one. I'm the same way. I go through the season, I go through the off season, and I'm realistic about the team, but I always tell all my subscribers, once the game comes, don't expect me to say my team's going to lose. So I definitely think it's going to be a fun game, and I really can't wait. But Aaron, it was such a pleasure having you on the show. I appreciate your time. Please, before we do get you out of here, please just let them know where they can find you.
At Aaron E. Summers. So it's ERINESUMMERS. And that's on Twitter. So definitely give me a shout out, follow me there, and we'll both enjoy this game Sunday regardless, right?
We'll try. It's been it's been tough for us, but we'll try. But I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate everybody tuned in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe if you are new, and go check out Aaron Summers. They do some amazing work, and y'all know what it is, man. It is going to be Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out of here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere. This is for you.
So shout out to Aaron Summers for coming on. That was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun chopping it up with her. And we learned a couple of things, right? We learned a couple of things. I was looking at the injury report for the Saints last week. It looked like one of their offensive linemen were out. A couple of their linebackers were banged up. Obviously, the main name right now is going to be Alvin Kamara. We're all going to be looking at the injury report coming up to see if he's going to be good to go. Obviously, on our side, we're going to be looking for the same thing out of Dallas Goddard. Dallas Goddard right now is ranked by PFF as the top 5 tight end in the league right now, and I don't think that's any surprise to any of us, but it's going to be a loss if he's not able to go. Obviously, his was more of just a concussion. Hopefully, I say just like it's nothing, but hopefully he's good to go. Hopefully he can go clear protocol and is good to go for this game. I see everybody dropping their score predictions. I'm waiting until Wednesday. Shout out to East Camden for life for subscribing. Shout out to my guy. We got 20-something people in here. I don't know. Facebook, my OBS is bugging out. It keeps going between like 20 and 25. But we got 20-something people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm going to wait till tomorrow on my actual score prediction. I'm going to go live probably around 11:30 or 12:30. I just wanted to come on here, throw out this interview, see what you guys are thinking, give you guys a good little preview. But tomorrow we will have more answers. Obviously, we'll have, a practice under our belt. We'll know what's going on their side as far as injuries go, and we'll know a little bit more on our side as far as injuries go. But I feel good about this game. I really do. I really feel good about this game. I feel like this is a game we can win. So we'll see what happens. Richie says for the Broncos, it was told Patrick Surtain was out. Do not trust them. Yeah, sometimes they're a little bit wrong, but he might as well have been out because my guy Devontae Smith went crazy. I mean, and that's the thing. She was talking about Marshawn Lattimore, and that's going to be the matchup. And I wish I would have pegged this a little bit earlier and thought about this a little bit earlier. But, that's going to be the matchup that I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Devontae Smith versus Marshawn Lattimore. I think that the arrow is pointing up for Devontae Smith, and obviously Marshawn Lattimore is one of the better cornerbacks in this league. So this is going to be a great test for him. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be beautiful to see. I'm sure Marshawn Lattimore is just going to be following Devontae Smith around. If I was the Saints, that's what I would do, because we haven't really shown, I don't want to say the ability, but we really haven't shown the consistent, approach of getting the ball to 5-6 different receivers. Jalen Hurts gets it to usually like 3 or 4 different guys, and usually Devontae Smith is the main target. So that's who I'm looking at right now. I'm very much interested to see how that's going to go. Ramal says, I hope Cannon calls blitzes and press coverage. I hope so too. She called it, she said it, and she hit it on the nail, right? You got to come a little bit different than what they're expecting. We haven't done that much this whole season. I mean, outside of maybe the Lions game, it looked like our defense knew what they were doing. In this most recent game against the Broncos, it looked like they switched things up. We're sending some pressure at Teddy Bridgewater, but when you go against quarterbacks that you really need to do that and really need to get them off their spot, we haven't really shown the propensity to do that. Now, this is a quarterback against again, I said this before, this is a quarterback that we should be able to take advantage of. This should not be a guy that comes out here and hangs 40 plus on our head. This is not a guy that should have 80% plus as his passing percentage, or completion percentage. So I do think that everything's in our favor right now. And if Alvin Kamara is not being able to suit up on Sunday, that's huge. So I do now more so believe that I believe that my offense is going to go up there, put out at least 25, maybe 30 points. I think that they have the talent, and now they have the game plan to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So now it goes on to the defense. The defense, I look, in the beginning of the year, I had it totally opposite. I was saying that the offense was killing the defense, not being able to consistently sustain drives. Now the tables have turned. Now the page has turned. Whatever analogy you want to use, or whatever simile you want to come out with. Now it's the total opposite. The defense has to help this offense out, which is fine. That's fine. Let's help each other out. That is what makes a great team, right? It's not just about having a great offense or having a great defense. You have to be balanced. Look at the Cowboys in our division, right? They've had a great offense for a long time. Now they finally have a defense that's kind of clicking, and we see what's happening. So that's what it comes down to me for this week. The cornerbacks was also pressing against the wide receivers against the Broncos. Yeah, and it comes down to respect. Look, I understand showing some respect and giving a little bit of respect in situations to certain quarterbacks, but you can't come out and say Justin Herbert can throw the ball, so let's just get back 10 yards on every play. No, you got to switch it up. You got to, come at these dudes and make them make decisions. You can't make their job easier than it has to be. Saints tight end and backup tight end, are they good? I have no idea. Maybe I should have asked her. They pressed a little bit. Aren't you that guy that clown Vach for saying the Cowboys offense was better than KC? I was. I mean, I still think that it was a stupid comparison early in the season, but he's right. If he was wrong, no, y'all would have never said nothing. So it is what it is. Congrats to him. I mean, go win something. Go win something, then we can talk about it. We need a veteran DC. Gannon should be demoted or let go in the offseason. That'll be interesting to see if that happens. That'll be very interesting to see what they decide to do with this whole coaching staff. I mean, I know that we're all starting to get a little bit more faith in Nick Sirianni, right? Nick Sirianni learned how to run the ball, and, it proves that he can at least change up his philosophy. We'll see if Jonathan Gannon can change up his and find something that works with this team. Then hopefully we got it. Shoot, East and West and Shakes is live soon. Yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick. I'm also going to be going to check out, I know nobody probably cares about the Panthers versus the Washington football team, but my guys over at Panther Nation Podcast is doing a live with George Carmi, who's also a good friend of mine. So I'm definitely going to be checking those out because I love the work they put out. So I just wanted to come on here quick and talk a little bit to y'all. Ramal said Herbert, Carr, Brady, and Mahomes had great completion percentages against us. Our soft decent. Yeah, I agree. And it comes down, in my opinion, I could be wrong about this, but to me it came down to just showing far too much respect and being afraid of these guys. Like, I understand you don't want to get beat over the top. I get that. You don't want to give up 100-yard, passes, but the likelihood of that happening on multiple occasions is very low. But the likelihood of any quarterback realistically hitting a 5-10 yard pass is very high. So I'd rather give you the over the top every now and then than to continuously say take the 5 and 10 yard passes. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's shooting yourself in the foot and it's setting your players up for failure. You know what I'm saying? And you have some veterans on this team in the secondary and on the defensive line that you give them time, especially on this defensive line. You start giving the defensive line 2-3 seconds instead of this half a second and the ball's out of the quarterback's hands. They're able to get to the backfield. We haven't been able to make any coverage or make any, we haven't been able to continuously get any pressure because the cornerbacks are playing 15 yards off. So it gives the quarterback an easy read. I check out Panthers coverage too. What YouTube co-trained. It's called Panther Nation Podcast. Panther Nation Podcast. They do some great stuff. We've had them on here, I think, like twice now. I think we had them on for the draft. That's when we first met them, and then I had them on for the preview of the game. And I was on their channel as well, actually, for the preview. Jonathan Gannon has to change his defense versatility play calling to fix the roads. Yeah, he has to change it up. And you said it perfectly. It has to be versatile. It has to be something that is very dynamic, something that goes with the wins, goes with the changes of the teams that you're going to play. Because you can't have the same type of mentality going against a team like, You can't have the same game plan going against a Ravens type team and then going against the Chiefs. They're two totally different teams. And I know those are very big, but that's what I'm trying to say is that every game is very different. So you have to have different mentalities and different, game plans going into them. Shout out to everybody in here, man. We got 25 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to like 20 something likes. Let's throw it up. Shout out to my guy, Joey Shakes. Shout out to Shakedown Pie. I got a lot to watch tonight. I'm hyped. I'm hyped because I'm definitely going to be watching the Philly Shakedown tonight. He says, if Nick Sirianni fails, Jalen will fail under him. Facts. It's all on Nick to put Jalen in position. Hurts will take care of the rest of the work. I mean, look, I've said this before. Do I think that Jalen Hurts has every physical, how do I say this without sounding like I'm hating? Because y'all will call me out quick. I think that there's a lot of mechanics that he still has to work on, and I still think that he's a long way from being a guy you can depend on in big moments as far as a passer goes. But he has a lot of different aspects of his game that can overshadow that can definitely help him along the way. So I agree 100%. If Nick Sirianni just utilizes what's good on this offense and doesn't make it all about Jalen Hurts being a passer right now, I think that he can learn and he can, over time become that guy. We are one of the worst in D-end ratings. At least our D tackles are all right. Barnett keeps shooting us in the back. Yeah, I mean, Barnett needs to go. But I still feel like, and, this is probably going to be a very unpopular opinion. It is what it is. Derek Barnett has talent. Derek Barnett is not terrible. It's just that he makes boneheaded decisions, and he makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes that cost us. So I do still think that it's on Gannon to, he has to get these cornerbacks up on the line. Give your defensive line some time. And it's going to be hard to throw it for 30 yards down the field when you got Fletcher Cox in your face, or you got Javon Hargrave in your face, or Derek Barnett, or Josh Sweat. I feel like Josh Sweat went crazy last year against the Saints. So hopefully it happens again. Greg Ward inactive this week to allow 4 running backs to dress. That'll be interesting. That would be interesting. Maybe you just inactivate Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor hasn't done anything. I've tried to give him time, but Jalen Reagor has done nothing. He's just even on the end arounds, he's making terrible decisions. I get it that the play might not be there, but don't lose an extra 5 yards on top of that. Watching other teams around the league, I think Gannon is copying other teams, but doesn't fit our personnel. I could see that. I remember we smashed Saints' #1 run defense last year with heavy run plays. Sanders had an amazing game last year. That's what we need to do again. That's what we need to do again. Joey Hader at it again. Now he's talking about me. He's talking about me shakes. He's talking about me shakes. J-Jaw and Reagor are worst wide receivers. Yeah, they definitely are. I don't know why J-Jaw's still on this team if I'm being 100% honest, but I don't make those decisions. Derek Barnett, 2.5 sacks over these 2 games, Saints and Giants. That's my prediction. I could see that. Look, like I said, Derek Barnett is not garbage. Derek Barnett has talent. It's just about the mental mistakes that he's making, and that it's just killing us. It's killing him, realistically. But either way, other than that, I am about to get out of here, man. But yeah, he was talking about me. Richie always calling me, everybody calling me a hater. It is what it is. I'm a hater. It is what it is. But I am about to get out of here. I'm about to go watch some of these other amazing content creators. I hope that you guys join me in the comments. They fail or succeed together. Yeah, facts. J-Jaw is Howie's favorite. But it has to be. J-Jaw must cook dinner for Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. I'm convinced of it. But tomorrow we are back on schedule. I know that, I've taken kind of 4 days off now. Today I won't really count because I'm not even going a full hour. But tomorrow we're back on schedule. Tomorrow we are going to be live probably at 12:30, maybe 11:30. I got to check what time I'm going to be available, but we will be back to our lives. I really do appreciate everybody that has been rocking with me and keeping in tune and keeping in check. Y'all know what I've been doing this weekend, wearing dragon suits and ish. So it is what it is, man. The things I do to make people happy, But other than that, I am about to get out of here, man. Be sure to hit that like on your way out. I know I will. And other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Goes Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do 'em in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.